Welcome to the fifth session of the third module. Now, in this session, let us discuss about the different types of losses that might come across in any solar flat plate collectors. Basically, heat losses from any solar water heating system can take place in majorly three ways, as we just discussed in the previous session. This heat losses by three modes may be radiation, or it may be by convection and conduction, or maybe the combination of these three modes. The conduction heat loss occurs from the sides and back of the collector plates, whereas the convection radiations always occurs at the top of the solar flat plate collectors, and the radiation also it occurs because of uh, the absorbing plates. So hence this is the reason why we always go for a black coating of the absorber plate in order to avoid the solar radiations. So basically what happens, the convections and the radiations, even in the previous class we have discussed the reflections and the radiation losses. The convection just takes place, the convection losses between the absorption plates and to the upper glass which is being placed. And if you have a more than one or two plates like a upper glass and a lower glass, so it just prevents it further losses of the convection. That is the reason why we always maintain a minimum of distance between two glass plates, or between a glass plate and to this absorption plates. So that is the idea behind of avoiding the convection losses. The most commonly, the heat loss occurs by all the mechanisms as conductive, convective and radiative heat transfers, whereas the back loss and the edge loss can be minimized by proper selection of the insulating materials, and its thickness also plays a vital role. Even while selecting the thickness, if it is too less, it doesn't serve the purpose. If it is too big also, it doesn't serve the purposes, because if it is too big, what happens, it reduces the surface area are available for the absorption plate or absorber. So we always go for a critical thickness of the insulation. That means an optimum thickness is being maintained. Therefore, the most important heat loss in a flat plate collectors, it is by the top heat loss when compared to the side and the bottom. Is it clear? So side and bottom losses we can avoid it by proper mentioning, proper using the sealing materials and its thickness. But whereas the top heat losses are predominant. So the top losses always occurs by the convection and the radiations. Is it clear? How this collectors will be more efficient? It is only by multiple types of solar thermal collectors. The evacuated tube collectors are the most efficient when compared to the other type of collectors. It is only because the major top losses will be very much minimum compared to the other losses. Now let me talk about the overall coefficient. Overall loss coefficient, usually we denote it by U. It's a overall heat transfer coefficient also we can call it, and we can also call it as a overall loss coefficient. Basically what happens, this overall loss coefficient, it will be always in terms of watts per meter degree kelvins or degree centigrade, is given by Newton's law of cooling. If you see this expression, it is convenient from the point of view of analysis to express the heat loss from the collector in terms of an overall loss coefficient defined by the equation Q suffix T is equal to Ui into AP into T of Pm minus Ta. Now, my dear friends, if you can see this, basically a mechanical engineering students can understand this better. One concept which we discuss in the heat transfer. In the heat transfer, what happens, because of the convection, the convection is always given by the Fourier law will gives us the mode of heat conduction, whereas the Newton's law will gives us the mode of heat transfer by convection. Whatever the loss that is being taking place in the convection is given by Newton's law of cooling. According to this Newton's law of cooling, Q, or the heat flux or the rate of heat transfer, is directly proportional to the surface area into temperature difference. Now if you can see, this Q is equal to, Q is a rate of heat transfer or the heat transfer rate, is directly proportional to surface area into temperature difference. This proportionality constant, if you remove it, then we will get it as convective heat transfer coefficient as a H, or overall heat transfer coefficient, which is given by U. This is nothing but watts per meter square degree centigrade. Is it clear? So this is watts per meter square degree centigrade. So that it is AP is nothing but the surface area of the absorber plate. So this is given by Newton's law of cooling. Now if you see this, UI is nothing but overall loss coefficient, AP is nothing but the area of absorber plate, and TPM is the average. It is the average temperature of the absorber plate. Okay, and then average temperature means since from the beginning till the maximum temperature, from the minimum temperature to the maximum temperature, whatever the temperature it attains, the average of that temperature is being taken as the TPA, or we can take it as a T average also. Then minus TA is nothing but ambient temperature or atmospheric temperature. That is what we consider. Now the temperature of the surrounding air, that is assumed to be same on all sides of the collector. Obviously it will be same, we can assume this. The heat lost from the collector is the sum of heat lost from the top, bottom and the sides. There will be actually, if you take this is a flat plate collector, now this is a side, this is the side, 1 2 3 4 sides are there, and one bottom is there. Is it clear? One top is there. So this 1 plus 2 plus 3, I will take the sides, all the sides as one side. That means I will consider this. Okay, this plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Okay, all the four sides I am just considering it as a sum of the heat loss, and then the top loss, and then the bottom loss. So these three losses that we are just accompanying or discussing over here, from the top, the bottom and the sides. Thus, Q of T is equal to Q of T uh, uh, plus Q of B plus Q of S. Actually, this is Q total. Q, you can take it as a Q capital T. The total heat transfer or the heat loss or the rate of heat transfer is given by rate of heat transfer at the top surface, rate of heat transfer at the bottom surface, and the rate of heat loss or transfer from the sides is given by Qt plus Qb plus Qs. Are you getting it? It is a Newton's law of cooling. So what this is for one general expression. So the same general expression we are just making it for the top, bottom and sides. Each of these losses is also expressed in terms of coefficients called top loss coefficient, bottom loss coefficients and side loss coefficients. When we are talking about, this is an individual equation. This is the total heat loss equation, wherein which if you take individually Qt, if you take it, so the overall heat transfer coefficient will be a different one. It will be the overall heat transfer coefficient at the top, overall heat transfer coefficient at the bottom, and the overall heat transfer coefficient at the side walls will be considered. So that is what we just reduce this expression, this. So UT, UB and US. So rest of the things remains the same thing. It will be noted that the definition of each of the coefficients is based on the area of AP, that is absorber plate, and then the temperature difference, that is the average temperature of the absorber plate minus the atmospheric temperature. This is done by convenience and help in giving the simple addition equation, which is equals to UT is equal to, that is a U capital T is equal to U small t plus UB plus US. The losses can be pictured in terms of thermal resistance as shown in the figure. I just shall show you in the next. The overall heat loss coefficient is an important parameter since it is measure of all the losses. Typical values range from 2 to 10 watts per meter square degree kelvins, or it can be degree centigrade. I have been telling you this U expression, U units will be watts per meter square degree centigrade. It can be in degree centigrade or it can be in degree kelvins also, because we have the temperature difference. So when you have a temperature difference in any of the unit, it doesn't matter, it will be the same. So if you consider the top loss coefficient, if you consider the first top loss coefficient, the top loss coefficient U of T is evaluated by considering the convection and re-radiation losses from the absorber plate. So we have just considered the top loss coefficient with the two factors, convection and re-radiation losses from the observer plate in upward directions. For the purpose of calculations, it is assumed that the transparent cover and the observer plate constitutes a system of infinite parallel surfaces and that the flow of heat is one-dimensional and steady state. Now, my dear friends, if you consider this as a flat plate, whatever the loss which are happening above this is considered as a top loss. In order to study this top loss, we have to find out the top loss coefficient. In order to study this top loss coefficient, I am going to make two assumptions. One is the plates, this is the observer plate, and then the covering plates, they are infinitely parallel surfaces. They are infinitely parallel. Of course, it will be a parallel only, something like this. This is parallel to this. This is parallel to this. Maybe they are separated with certain distance, but they are assumed to be parallel and it will be parallel. And the second one more assumptions what we are making it is they are steady. They are steady. That means the change is not meant to occur with respect to the time. That is a steady state. Unsteady state is not accepted. We are assuming it as a steady state condition and it is a one dimension. It's a very important. That means if you consider three-dimensional, that means heat is losing in x, y direction, heat is losing in y direction, and heat is losing in z direction. X, y, and z. X, y, and z. So the three dimensions it is very difficult. So what we do it is whatever the heat loss it is occurring, it is only in one direction. That is it can be x or it can be y or it can be z. You can take any one direction heat losses. So we just assume this as a one dimensional heat losses. Okay, it is further assumed that the temperature drop across the thickness of the cover is negligible. Whatever the heat that is been happening in the thickness is a very small uh, negligible thickness which is of delta C. We have discussed delta C, we just consider it as a negligible heat which has been taking place over there, and the interaction between the incoming solar radiations absorbed by the covers and the outgoing glass may be neglected. That is a very important one. The radiations absorbed by the cover and the outgoing glass may be neglected. The outgoing re-radiation is of larger wavelengths. For these wavelengths, the transparent cover will be assumed to be opaque in nature. Obviously, we most of the cases we take the opaque properties material only, but still we are just making it as an assumption as it is opaque in nature. The transparent cover is opaque in nature and it allows the solar radiations to fall into the solar collectors. And we also assume that the re-radiation that is reflecting or re-radiation outgoing radiations are of a higher wavelengths. This is very good assumptions if the material is a glass. That is what I just meant to say. If it is a glass, it is opaque only. So we will assume it as an opaque. The schematic diagram for two dimensional is being given here in this figure. It is a steady state heat transfer by the convection and radiation between the absorber plate. Now you can see this is an absorber plate and the first cover which is TC1 and the second cover which is TC2. This is a T sky is nothing but sky temperature, whereas TA that is above TA is atmospheric temperature which has been covered by this solar collectors, where T sky is a space temperature. Is it clear? Don't get confused. T sky is something like a space temperature above certain height, whereas the atmosphere above this solar collector that we consider it as TA. The first cover and the second cover. Okay, the second cover and the surroundings must be equal. Okay, calculations of this top class coefficients Qi by AP. This is a heat flux which is always given by watts per meter square. So meter square we have taken it as an observer plate which is equal to H. H is nothing but a convective heat transfer coefficient. Every fluid will have its own properties as a materials. I was just talking copper is a good heat conductor. It will have a K of 380. If you take aluminum, its value is 330. So every solid material have its own properties which we call it as a thermal conductivity K. Whereas likewise the solid, even in the liquids, will also have certain properties. A steam, a normal air, a breeze will always have its own properties which we call it as convective heat transfer coefficient, which is H between C1, that is nothing but between the observer plate and the first plate, TPM minus TC1. Temperature difference temperature difference between the average temperature of the absorption plate minus first glass plate temperature. Now please be careful here. I repeat once again, the product of this H into delta T will gives us the convection losses. Then the plus whatever the remaining is there, it is the radiation losses. Radiation losses are always given by Stephen's law, uh, Stephen, uh, uh, Stephen Boltzmann law of radiation. Stephen Boltzmann law of radiation will gives us the sigma. Sigma is nothing but Stephen Boltzmann constant, which is nothing but 5.664 into 10 to the power of minus 8 watts per meter square degree Kelvin to the power of 4. It is 5.667 into 10 to the power of minus 8 watts per meter square degree Kelvin to the power of 4. It is a constant one. You have to remember the value. Whereas the K and H, it varies depending upon the material. Whereas the sigma is a Stephen Boltzmann constant, it always remains constant. So it is nothing but T average temperature to the power of 4 minus T uh, first plate temperature to the power of 4. Please be careful here, my dear friend. All the temperatures over here should be in degree kelvins. And this Stephen Boltzmann law holds good only for the absolute temperatures, not for any other temperatures. So it is not accepted in degree centigrade, or it is nothing but in degree Fahrenheit or Rankins. No, it is only because Stephen Boltzmann law, it is not necessary, but still I'll tell you, it is not in your syllabus. Stephen Boltzmann law of radiation states that the absolute temperature, the rate of heat transfer, I mean to say that the rate of heat transfer by the radiation is directly proportional to absolute temperature to the power of 4 of any material. If I am talking about radiation losses of this plate, so it is nothing but Q is equal to directly proportional to absolute temperature to the power of 4. Whatever the temperature of this, it is the power of 4. Okay, now divided by 1 divided by epsilon p plus 1 divided by epsilon c minus 1. This is nothing but emissivity. This epsilon or E indicates emissivity of absorber plate and emissivity of the glass plate. Similarly, I will also make this for a second plate, HP minus TC1 minus TC. No, please be careful here. In the first expression, the convection between the observer plate and the first plate we have done it. Second one we are doing it for between first plate and the second plate. It is only because, my dear friends, apart from the mechanical engineering students, you may feel it difficult to understand. Please be careful here. Once again I am doing it. The first expression will tell us between the first plate and the observer plate. Second expression which I am placing it over here, it is between the second plate and the first plate. So obviously the temperature difference we should take it between Tc1 minus Tc2. So H of convective heat transfer coefficient into, this is H into Tc1 minus Tc2. Similarly plus same sigma Tc1 to the power of 4 minus Tc2 absolute temperature to the power of 4 divided by 1 divided by E of C1 plus 1 divided by E of C2. In in most of the cases this same material will be used. If it is a different material, this holds good. If it is the same material, you can sum it with the same thing. 1 by this and 1 by this will give rise to the 1, that EC minus 1 it becomes. Is that clear? So this is a top loss coefficient. Please be careful here, my dear friends. This is a wonderful concept related to the top loss coefficient. It is the most, it is of higher priority because most of the loss is being taking place because of the top loss coefficient. Now here I just further take this. So HW is equal to Tc2 minus Ta plus. This is what which is happening in the space. Three equations I'm just doing it. First equation will tells us between the convection losses or the loss coefficient between the observer plate and then the first plate. Second equation will tells us between the first plate and the second plate, and the third expression which I am just giving it in the next slide will tells us between the second plate and to the space. Is that clear? Second plate and to the space which is given by, it is only because here we don't have any material once again. So what happens, this denominator will goes off. So and then it reduces to HW, that is convective heat transfer coefficient of the wall, minus Tc2, that is the outermost plate, minus Ta is the ambient temperature or atmospheric temperature, plus sigma into epsilon c into Tc to the power of 4 minus T of sky, because it is left to the space, so we just take it as atmospheric, that is the sky temperature, absolute temperature to the power of 4. Now this is a HPC1 will tell us convective heat transfer coefficient between the observer plate and the first cover. This is what I have already explained to you, but still as a customary, HC1 minus HC1 C2 will tells us the convective heat transfer coefficient between first and the second cover, whereas HW will tells us the convective heat transfer coefficient between topmost cover and the surrounding area. Tc1, Tc2 are the temperatures attained by the two covers respectively. T sky is the effective temperature of the sky with which the radiative exchange takes place. Epsilon P is the emissivity of the observer plate and epsilon C is the emissivity of the covers for a long wavelength radiations. Continue to set these three equations, non-linear equations, which have to be solved by unknowns Qt, Tc1, Tc2. However, before this can be done, it will be necessary to have some correlations for calculating convective heat transfer coefficients Hp, H1, H2 and H3 simply, and sky temperature T sky. A correlation is required. Okay, that is the idea behind of that. Now if you come to this bottom loss coefficient, among all three types of losses, the top loss is the one majorly important that we have neglected it. Now we have just finished it, and now we are just going into the bottom loss coefficient, which is of neglected. That means I'm not saying it is neglected, it is neglected when compared to the severity of the losses which are happening in the stage of top and side losses. The bottom loss coefficient UB is evaluated by considering conduction and convection losses from the observer plate in the downward direction through the bottom of the collector. It will be assumed that the flow of heat is one-dimensional steady. Obviously, the same thing we are just making it one-dimensional and steady state. In most cases, the thickness of insulation provided in such that the thermal resistance associated with conduction dominates. Thus, the neglection of convective resistance we have. So, because if I am not wrong, maybe in the previous session, I guess. In the previous session, I was just showing you how this. If you consider this, actually, I just let me explain this, then I will go further. If you say this, in order to avoid the heat losses by conduction, what we do it is the side walls and the bottom, especially the bottom one with higher thickness, we insulate it. So what happens when it is been insulated, convective heat losses doesn't occur predominantly. So what happens, the conduction will be more. So that is the reason why we will neglect the convection. But whereas what happens in the top surfaces, which we have shown it over here, whereas what happens in the top surfaces, it is exposed to the surface. So what happens, it is not physically touch with any solid material. So what happens, this will be a convection and radiation will be dominant, whereas here the bottommost portion is being insulated with some material. or some solid. When it is been in a physical contact with the material, then the conduction will be predominant. So the conduction predominant will be given by UV is equal to Ki divided by Kb, delta B. Delta B is nothing but the thickness, as you can see it in this figure. Delta B is the thickness of this, and delta S is nothing but the thickness of the side walls. L3 is the length of the L3 is nothing but the length of the height of the side walls. Is it clear? Now, if you consider this, Qs is the amount of heat that is happening in the side walls, which is losing the heat by the side walls, and Qb is the amount of heat that is being lost by the uh, bottom portion of the collectors. Now, these two are the collector glass covers and observer plates. Now, actually, before I proceed, now I have forgotten to tell you, sir, if you can ask me, sir, if there is only one covering shield is there, if there is only one plate is there, then what will be the expression? There should be minimum one, and maximum it can go up to three. Now, in case of if it is only one, then what happens? This second equation doesn't comes into picture at all, my dear. This second picture, the second equation doesn't comes into picture at all. The only first expression between observer plate and to this first plate, and then suddenly we will come to this. Is it clear? Similarly, if you have one more coating or one more layer is there, then we will get one more expression here like this. Are you getting it? It is as simple as that. As simple physics of heat transfer. Now, whereas K is nothing but the thermal conductivity of this insulation. If you use a wood thermal conductivity is used. If you use a wool, the wool conductivity is used. If you use any thermal conducting material or any insulating material, that solid material thermal conductivity is being used. It is nothing but watts per meter degree centigrade. Delta B is nothing but the thickness of the insulations. Now let us talk about the side loss coefficient. It is simple, so we just take it as usual directly. UB is equal to K by delta. Is it clear? Actually, if you take it as a QT also, if you want to reduce it, I cannot show it over here. Q bottom. If you take it as a Q bottom, then UB Q bottom can be written as Ki into delta T. That is nothing but T of observer plate, T observer plate AP, TP minus T bottom. Whatever this bottom temperature is there, that is what we consider it, divided by delta B. Is it clear? Next, let us take the side loss coefficient. If you take the side loss coefficients, actually, as in the case of the bottom loss coefficient, it will be assumed that the conduction resistance dominates, that the flow of heat is one dimensional and steady state, and the convection and radiation losses are negligible because the insulation is being applied on both the sides of the side walls. Thus, one dimensional approximation can be justified on the grounds that the side loss coefficient is always much smaller than the top loss coefficient. Okay. If the dimensions of the observer plates are L1 and L2 and the height of the collector casing is L3, okay, then the area across which heat flows sideways is given by 2 into L1 plus L2 into L3. No, that is what he is just telling. If there are two side walls, one is this side and the other one is this side. If you take this L3 as a height and this length, width I am talking about, this is the width actually. The breadth, this is the breadth actually. Delta X is nothing but the breadth, and the width is been taken as L1 on this side and L2 on that side. So what we take it is total area, we are just taking it as L1 plus L2 into L3. It is two sides. Is it clear? The temperature drop across which the heat loss occurs varies from TPM, that is TPM is nothing but average observer temperature minus TA at the observer plate level to 0 both at the top and bottom. Assuming therefore that the average temperature drop across the side insulation is TPM minus TA divided by 2, and that the thickness of the insulation is delta S, we have QS is equal to 2L. This is an area. Simply you can write it as the area of the side wall, or you can calculate this as 2 into L3. It is completely, why it is 2 means L1 plus L2, this is L1 plus L2 into L3 will gives rise to only the area, cross sectional area. I'm talking about only the cross sectional area, my dear friends. If you take this as a cross sectional area, this is L1 plus, this is L1 plus L2 into L3 is the height. This is L1, this is L3. Okay, total into L3 is the height. So that will gives rise to an area. I will multiply the same thing over here because the area over here is the same as the area over here. So this is an area into thermal conductivity is a K, and then T Pm minus Ta divided by 2 into delta X. This is 2 is only because T Pm minus Ta, the losses or the side insulation is half of the major losses. So I just will take this. Now if I simplify this, I will get this. U S is equal to L1 plus L2 into L3 into K1 divided by L1 L2 into delta S. So these are all the different top loss, side loss and the bottom loss coefficients, and then we shall try to achieve the temperature distribution. But we shall do it in the next session.